Question number 278 has been asked by the Honourable Maotwe to the Minister of Finance. The question is about whether the National Treasury is reviewing the Social Relief of Distress grant to implement an unemployment grant, and if so, has the review been outsourced to a consultant or contractor, and what are the names of the consultants or contractors? The Honourable Minister.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, the future form and nature of the COVID-19 SRD will be informed by the outcome of the review of the active labour market policies. Long-term economic participation is a critical objective, and the solution must consider long-term benefits, affordability, complementarity with basic services, and employment promotion efforts. The Government Technical Advisory Centre, which is housed at National Treasury, is a service provider appointed to conduct this active labour market review. Thank you.
The first supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Maotwe.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, we are in this situation today because for the past 10 years, the unemployment level has risen to high levels. We are speaking today with the expanded unemployment level sitting at 42%. And National Treasury has got no plan, even in this fiscal framework that was presented this year. They've got no plan or even an appetite to tell us how they are going to curb these unemployment levels. We've asked, when are they going to introduce the unemployment grant? Our people are unemployed, even worse now. Graduates are also unemployed, which adds on the crisis of the unemployment as it stands. So we just need to know, when are we implementing unemployment grant for the people who are within the working age population? Because it is not their own doing that they can't find jobs. They are trying to find jobs, they are applying, but there's just no opportunities out there. What will the minister do, and when will he introduce unemployment grant in South Africa to avoid these crisis levels that we find ourselves in? We will not curb the crime levels in this country for as long as our people are loitering the streets looking for jobs which are nowhere to be found. And it is not their own making. The government needs to create opportunities for our people. It's not enough for our government to only send kids to school to graduate and come back and loiter the streets without any unemployment. So the only thing that can help us is for government, which we also asked in the fiscal framework, that you are saying you are giving 8.8 billion rands towards creation of jobs, but you are not telling us how many jobs you are going to create. So while we are still waiting for that answer,
your time has expired.
When will the unemployment grant be introduced? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, it's the first time I hear of a proposal called unemployment grant. First time I hear that. What I've heard is proposal around basic income grant, around a number of other things. The unemployment grant, I've not heard of it. But let me come and say, first let me talk about the unemployment problem. The unemployment problem is the function correctly so. Okay. Is it better? I said, I've never had a proposal of the unemployment grant. It's the first time I'm hearing of it. What I've heard are people who are talking about a basic income grant and other grants. Be that as it may, the issue of unemployment is a function of a number of things. Key in South Africa is a function of the fact that, let's admit, of stagnant growth. You make an allegation which I want to debunk, that in the fiscal framework there's no attempt at all to deal with this question, which I want to say is incorrect. First and foremost, in the budget, we outline 4 pillars of growth. Amongst them is massive investment in infrastructure, which we think will have an impact on the growth question. Insofar as looking at unemployment, you will know that there's what is called employment incentive. But what we are doing at the moment under leadership of Minister Math is to look at the reorganization of all of that in government, whose intention is to look what form of grants it may well be that unemployment grant becomes one of those things. But we're working on
Honourable Minister, your time has expired. Thank you. The second supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Burke.
Honourable Minister, what are the costs associated with job seeking and how significant are they for unemployed people? Would a grant that could assist people with unemployment and job seeking help to address these costs and provide incentives to continue looking for work or creating entrepreneurial activity?
The Honourable Minister.
The ideas that are beginning to emerge include a job seekers grant is among the package that has been considered. Among other things that have been considered, as you would be aware, is the issue of small and medium enterprise, and therefore part of that package would also be the same as what we call entrepreneurial grant. So that work is part of the active labour market review.
The third supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Molefe.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Minister, given the acute unemployment and inequality being experienced by South Africans, especially the indigenous portion of the population, what direct relief measures has the National Treasury spent funds on in the immediate past, and what has been budgeted for to alleviate the suffering and havoc in people's lives that is being wreaked by unemployment and inequality?
Honourable Minister.
The honourable member will know that, among other things, since 2020, during the COVID, we introduced a COVID relief grant. And government spends about 35 billion rand per annum on that grant. And that grant is still penciled in over the MTF, subject to the outcome of the discussions that are taking place around the labour market reforms. There's also an employment incentive tax, which assists employers and fund employers who employ young people and subsidize them. We spend about 12 billion rand per annum on that grant. So there are a number of actions that are taking place. Various departments are doing a number of things. And there's also a notion that fiscal policy alone is the driver of economic growth. These ministers that are sitting next to me are involved in one way or the other in growth initiatives in their respective departments. I thank you.
The last supplementary question will be asked by the Honourable Maimane.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Minister, quick question. In this regard, the Constitutional Court has ruled the fact that the SRD grant needs to be broadened to focus on inclusion, which will move it from 7 million beneficiaries to 11 million. Now, it's common cause that it is A, unaffordable, and B, the government itself in its submission argued that it is a voluntary one, which means that either the government will remove it or not. My question is, are you thinking of converting it into a basic income grant? A, or B, would it be better for us to use it as an incentive scheme for people to find work, certainly along rail, so that it becomes a process where people have the dignity of getting up to work and earning that money, rather than it be a grant for people to stay at home?
The Honourable Minister.
What I want to assure the House on, there is no intention to terminate the grant. Let's clear that up front. Because there's been a lot of misinformation that we've got an intention to terminate the grant. There's no intention. The second set of issues, are we likely to convert it into something else? And I think in all the questions that have been asked, I've been reaffirming the notion that there's a process which is in motion, which is the active labour market. It may well be that this grant may emerge as an employment grant. I don't know. But if colleagues have got some proposal to make, they must all approach Minister Maotwe, who's leading us in that regard. Thank you.